I am so grateful to God for the opportunity to be a parent. But I would be remiss if I did not confess that it is one of the hardest jobs I have ever had. When my daughter Naima was born, all I had was a parenting book and what I learned from my parents. One time my daughter was having a meltdown and I wasn't too far behind her. I remember my mom gently saying, "Rhonda, you have to find different ways to reach and communicate with children because one size does not fit all, and what worked for you may not work for her." In the wake of COVID-19, maltreatment of kids and domestic violence is on the rise in epic proportions across the globe. It is the ideal situation for abuse, neglect, and trauma to occur without any external interference. The stories are horrific and heart-wrenching. If a child can't feel safe at home, what hope do they have? Origami. Yes, that was a breakthrough technique my mom used to reach my daughter on a different level. But what about those kids who are not so lucky? St. Joseph Parenting Center is committed to teaching individuals how to be better parents so that all kids can live in a world free of abuse and neglect and be safe at home. Good morning and welcome to St. Joseph Parenting Center's 11th but first annual virtual breakfast. My name is Rhonda Neal, Executive Director. And if you're anything like me, I prefer to eat dinner for breakfast because I have all day to work it off. But for this event, I will be joining you with a cup of tea. For those of you who are new, welcome. St. Joseph Parenting Center's mission is to strengthen families that are at risk of child abuse and neglect by providing parenting education and resource support. We service over 320 parents annually in Lower Fairfield County through our three main programs: General Parenting, 24/7 Dad, and the Women's Circle of Support. We also provide case management support, and I like to think of that as a coach, someone to help you set goals and achieve family success and access necessary resources for you and your family. Now, normally this event is held at a venue, but because of COVID-19, we are doing it virtually because so many families are counting on us. Can you imagine as a parent having challenges before COVID-19? Now they've just been amplified. Job loss, food insecurity, loss of health care, and the list goes on and on and on. And as a matter of fact, we do have cases of child abuse and domestic violence, just to complicate things. So just imagine if this is the starting line, now your situation is pushed back so far that if you ran backwards, you'd probably come in first place. So when the shutdown happened, St. Joseph Parenting Center, we pivoted. We continued case management support via the phone, and within 2 weeks, we were up and running with Zoom parenting classes. As a matter of fact, we had one client say, "I am so glad you kept the doors open. Now I know I can make it." See, everybody doesn't start at the same level, but we believe that everyone can have a good outcome despite COVID-19. We have a great event lined up, but first I want to thank guests, I want to thank staff, I want to thank our board of directors, I want to thank our facilitators in the community at large, but I want to give a big special shout out to our title sponsor, Rain Carbon. I also want to thank the Abbott Family Foundation and Tom and Terry McKiernan. Please help me welcome Minister Michael Pollard of Union Baptist Church, who's going to open this event with an invocation.
The Missai Warriors in Africa has an interesting greeting that I'd like to share with you. It's simply called Kishirien Indre. It simply translates into the words, "How are the children?" The Missai are well known for being extremely strong warriors and extremely bright people. And what they have done is they've used that word to greet each other because they measure the condition of their people and community by the condition of their children. These are truly difficult days and times for us and our children. Let us keep our thoughts on the children as we pray. Let us pray. God of heaven and earth, your presence do we seek at this moment, asking that those who hear my voice might be blessed by your presence. That this virtual breakfast might afford us not only food for our body, but food for our soul, that our spirits might be uplifted, that our fears and concerns will be washed over with your comfort and peace, that we might be blessed finding security and happiness during this time of uncertainty and insecurity. Lord God, happy and blessed are we that have committed ourselves to the worthy cause of the Parenting Center. On this day, may the Parenting Center secure the help and resources they need to fulfill their purpose. May the Parenting Center continue to help parents as they make the lives of their children safer and more secure. May the love for the Parenting Center be shown not only in the words spoken of it, but by the time, the talent, and the gifts given unto it. God, it's with a grateful heart that we pray this prayer, that we feel your sense of peace, hope, and security as we assemble together for this event and meal. In your magnificent name, yet do we pray. And the people of God said amen.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I have a very special award to present today, the Catherine A. Klee Award, to the Kappa Delta Sorority Sisters of Sacred Heart University. The Catherine A. Klee Award is an award that recognizes a person or persons that exemplifies the characteristics of the founder of the original St. Joseph Parenting Center in Akron, Ohio. This person or persons is passionate about making a difference in the world of child abuse prevention. They are willing to give their time, talent, or treasures towards supporting programs that work towards breaking the cycle of child abuse and neglect. They understand the importance of working with parents in an effort to protect the children. St. Joseph's Parenting Center first connected with Kappa Delta of Sacred Heart University in October of 2016 at the National Conference for America's Children, run by Prevent Child Abuse America. It was there that we found out that Kappa Delta Sorority's mission was child abuse prevention. In November of that year, the development director of St. Joseph Parenting Center reached out to Kappa Delta, and they have supported our mission to strengthen families that are at risk of child abuse and neglect by providing parenting education and support ever since. Our founder, Nisi O'Rourke, was invited to speak at Caitlin Shamrock the Runway fundraising event in March of 2018, and again in April of 2019. This year, Larissa Scandora, Vice President of Community Services of Kappa Delta, asked me to speak, but unfortunately the event was canceled due to COVID-19. 80% of the money that has been raised at that event for the past 3 years, totaling over $42,000, has been donated to St. Joseph Parenting Center to benefit our clients, their families, and their children. Amazingly, this year, even with their event being canceled, they raised over $6,400 to support our mission. I just find that so incredibly unbelievable. Thank you, Kappa Delta. This past November, I asked the sorority sisters if they would like to volunteer at our gala dinner at the Stanford Yacht Club. And 5 of the girls willingly agreed. I was informed after the event that they absolutely loved it and that they look forward to partnering with us at more events in the future. A few weeks following the event, I received an email from Andy Mormino, who at the time was the Vice President of Community Service for Kappa Delta, asking if they could stop by because they had spent the last week and a half fundraising for us and decided to buy personal care items and food staple items off of our online wish list, and that they would like to bring us a check in addition with those items for $1,200. I have given you only a glimpse into why the Kappa Delta Sorority Sisters of Sacred Heart University are so deserving of this award. It amazes and encourages me how a group of young women can be so incredibly thoughtful and caring of others and supportive of our mission. Each one of you, and 14 of those girls are with us today, are so incredibly special to us. With that being said, Larissa Scandora, as the Vice President of Community Service for Kappa Delta Sorority Sisters, it is my honor to present to you the Catherine A. Klee Award.
Thank you, Barbara, for your kind words and for the outstanding Catherine A. Klee Award. For those that don't know me, my name is Larissa Scandora, and I am the Vice President of Community Service for Kappa Delta's AIDA chapter at Sacred Heart University. I would not be here accepting this award on behalf of Kappa Delta if it wasn't for all the amazing girls a part of our chapter. We could not be more grateful to accept such an empowering award. Kappa Delta is more than just an organization. It is filled with over 100 powerful women who all make such remarkable impacts on people's lives every day. From our confidence building with the Girl Scouts to confidence building at our school, it is our goal to make people feel special. I never truly understood what Find Your Home meant during recruitment, but once I joined Kappa Delta, it clicked. I realized that this organization was so much more than just a group of girls. Most importantly, we are so humbled to be able to have helped St. Joseph's Parenting Center through the past years. Not only does our time benefit many families and children, but it makes Kappa Delta stronger to be able to see how much we can impact other people's lives. One of my favorite quotes of all time that represents our contribution to St. Joseph's Parenting Center is, "Success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives." I stand by this strongly because at the end of the day, being able to look at the change we have made for these families and children is by far the most rewarding. Our annual event, Caitlin's Shamrock the Runway, raises money for Prevent Child Abuse America and St. Joseph's Parenting Center. It has made a significant change in our lives. Not only does it make us better people, but also the entire Sacred Heart community that attends. All the people that contribute to this event are able to feel that they were able to help such a strong cause. The past Shamrocks were such a success, and the future ones to come will be too. This past year, our previous Vice President of Community Service, Andy Marmino, was able to raise hundreds of dollars to create a food drive for St. Joseph's Parenting Center. Being able to see the end result encouraged not only me, but many people in our sorority to work more with St. Joseph's Parenting Center. She has paved the way for the next Vice President of Community Service to follow in her amazing footsteps. Unfortunately, our time was cut short this past year, but in the future, we plan on doing more hands-on work with St. Joseph's Parenting Center. From baking goods to helping out at their dinners, we are all in. Again, being able to work with St. Joseph's Parenting Center has been an amazing experience, and we are beyond thankful to accept the Catherine A. Klee Award. We look forward to dedicating our time to continue to help children and families in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Kappa Delta Sorority. You are truly honoring Caitlin's legacy. Despite the shutdown, St. Joseph Parenting Center made a conscious decision to stay open and continue to be a safety net for our parents. We quickly pivoted to phone case management and parenting Zoom classes. To date, we have provided 100 parents with Zoom parenting classes, slightly down due to parents juggling multiple priorities. We provided 167 parents an increase of 25% with case management support and access to critical resources through key partnerships like Person to Person, Bethel AME Church, and New Covenant Center. Through deepened relationships with Stanford Public Schools and DCF, we are on a path to serve over 438 parents by year end, up 27%. We welcome the challenge, but we need your help. I have given you the numbers, but now it's time to hear from those who make our program successful. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce Attorney Francisco Cardona and Yudelka Leto. Attorney Cardona is one of our key facilitators who has taught over 32 classes. During the shutdown, Francisco pivoted with SJPC and taught Zoom classes while homeschooling his daughters. Welcome, Francisco.
Thank you, Carmen. In 2007, the Eurowood Center as a volunteer coordinated the Hispanic Health Fair, looking for volunteers. While there, a participating parent of the program introduced me to Carmen and the St. Joseph family. And before I knew it, I was volunteering as a facilitator. The passion I saw from that parent made me want to engage and learn more about this community, the St. Joseph family, and the they're trying to impart. Despite the current challenges that we are all facing during this time, St. Joseph's has handled the transition to the virtual world phenomenally, as they have adapted in order to continue to reach parents and provide an integral service using a virtual platform. As a facilitator, I hope that I may continue to learn and improve myself while helping other parents personally improve. One of the most valuable messages I have learned while facilitating that strongly resonates with me as a parent is that there is no such thing as a perfect, and instead of striving to be the perfect parent, we should strive to always improve and be parents. I can think of a young mom who took this message to heart. I have seen her work tirelessly and apply what she learned to improve as a parent. With the help and support of the St. Joseph family, I saw the evolution in this young woman. She is now married with a loving partner and is now a mother of two, and despite being in a better place, continues on her efforts to improve. Just like this mother has demonstrated the value of applying the message St. Joseph's brought to her, I too recognize the important part that the facilitators play in this role. We are all different, and despite our differences, one of the few things that we can unite upon is the love and care that we as parents share for our kids. I have witnessed the evolution and growth of parents and the effect that the St. Joseph message and teachings brings to them. I urge any and all willing to donate and serve as a facilitator to engage St. Joseph. You will see that St. Joseph staff work tirelessly to serve a community in need, a community that is eager to improve and be better than its predecessors, in order to bring a brighter future for our kids. So many classes later, I may not have left with any volunteers back in 2017, but I am honored that St. Joseph's continues to call on me as a facilitator, allows me to be part of the St. Joseph's community and family. Thank you.
Yudelka Leto is an amazing SJPC parent. She's participated in both the general parenting and the Women's Circle of Support programs. A leader in our community, Yudelka says that she's better equipped to raise her two children, Jadalise and Jalen, because of St. Joseph Parenting Center. Welcome, Yudelka.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yudelka Leto. I have a 19-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, like Carmen mentioned before. I first heard about St. Joseph Parenting Center through the Boys and Girls Club. I decided to visit St. Joseph to get more information, and this is when I met the most sympathetic, loving, and caring person, Monica. She informed me about the parenting classes and other resources that St. Joseph provides to the community, which I wasn't aware previously. My life before St. Joseph was complicated in the sense that I didn't have any guardians to help me raise my kids. I was basically raising my kids the way I was raised, yelling at them when they did something wrong or a spank here and there. As I started attending the parenting classes and learning about different topics such as discipline and many more, I truly realized how wonderful it was to have found St. Joseph because it was providing me with the tools that I needed to be a successful parent, which unfortunately I didn't have when I was raising my daughter. I faced many problems with her as she was becoming a teenager, such as behavior problems, and I didn't know what to do at that time. I am profoundly grateful to St. Joseph because now I have the tools I need to be a better and more prepared parent. St. Joseph has become like a second family for me. I felt welcome since day one in a safe, non-judgmental environment surrounded by other parents and most friendly, understanding, and compassionate staff, such as Carmen, Luis, Evelyn, and others, the impact San Jose has made in my life has deeply reflected in my family. Our quality of life has improved so much, and our relationships with each other keep successfully growing. I also love the Women's Circle group at St. Joseph. This group has been so beneficial for me as a woman, as a mother, and as a friend. During these classes, I can freely express myself about anything going on in my life. To me, that provides such a relief just to ventilate my thoughts. In this group, I have bonded with other women who are also parents. We share childhood stories, we love stories, we laugh, we cry, we share dishes we cooked, we play taboo. The connection has been so deep that some of us have even become good friends outside of St. Joseph. I genuinely appreciate that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the parenting classes are still being held online. The support is still there for us during these difficult times, which is extremely helpful since some of us are experiencing lots of stress and other challenges. St. Joseph has inspired me to become involved in the community. I am mostly looking forward to completing the rest of my parenting classes. And I would also like to help St. Joseph by becoming a volunteer. They have given me so much already, so it is time to give back. Thank you, St. Joseph Parenting Center.
Thank you, Yudelka and Francisco. Those were very, very powerful messages and perspectives from a mother who has benefited from the work of St. Joseph's Parenting Center and a practitioner who has seen the positive impact of parenting training, as well as what happens when these skills are absent. With that, I'd like to introduce today's keynote speaker. Dr. Kathy Beechin is a full-time attending physician for CityMD Urgent Care, providing pediatric and adult care at sites in the Bronx, Westchester, and Rockland counties. She also has considerable training in behavioral science and psychiatry, including domestic violence, child neglect and abuse, and providing anticipatory guidance to parents of infants throughout adolescence. Like SJPC's caseworkers and parenting trainers, Dr. Beechin is witnessing the impact of coronavirus is having on families, and she can speak firsthand about the urgent need for help that parents and children have during these uncertain times. As a medical professional on the front line of the coronavirus battle, Dr. Beechin is here today to discuss the importance of flattening another curve and the powerful role we can all play in ensuring that children and parents are safe at home. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker of St. Joseph's Parenting Center's 11th Annual Benefit Breakfast, Dr. Kathy Beechin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I would like to wish all the dads an early Happy Father's Day, and I would like to wish all the moms a belated Happy Mother's Day. Just before Mother's Day, a male colleague was asking his 5-year-old son, "What should we get Mom for Mother's Day?" The son replied, "A car, so we could drive around and see stuff." The father said, "But what would Mom really like?" The son replied, "A house of her own with no one else in it." During this time of social distancing and stay-at-home policies, there have likely been moments when each of us would have wanted that gift too. As we flatten the COVID-19 curve, I would like to talk about a terrifying curve that has been around for far longer than COVID-19, what St. Joseph's Parenting Center is doing to fight it, and how you can do your part as a global citizen on a local level. The terrifying curve, which has drastically accelerated since COVID-19 restrictions went into effect, is the domestic violence and child abuse curve. Issues of power and control lie at the center of domestic violence and abuse. The important restrictions that help flatten the curve of COVID-19 bring issues of power and control to an extremely dangerous point. For children and adults in volatile family situations, there is literally nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. The pressure keeps rising as problems pile on and losses keep on coming. The loss of a job, the loss of income, the loss of stress-releasing escapes. There's no going to school or daycare. The kids are at home, hungry, missing their friends, and whatever structure and predictability existed in life before COVID-19. There's little, if any, time to devote to distance learning for your child. There's no money, no food, no safety net of a school lunch. If you are in an abusive situation, you are now quarantined 24/7 with your abuser. It is a situation far more suffocating than wearing a mask. Add on to that the grief of a family member or close friend dying from COVID-19, along with the frustration of some people thinking it's all a hoax. With over 5 million reported cases worldwide, COVID-19 is no hoax. Long before the COVID-19 outbreak, the global pandemic of domestic violence and abuse unleashed terrifying numbers of its own. Data collected by the United Nations in 2017 revealed that 243 million women and girls worldwide between the ages of 15 and 49 were subjected to sexual or physical violence by an intimate partner in the past 12 months. That was 2017. The number was 243 million women and girls. Using more tangible and national numbers, a 2010 report by the CDC disclosed that 1 in 3 women in the United States has experienced physical or sexual violence at some point in her life. 2010, 1 in 3 women in the United States. Domestic violence and abuse has been called the invisible pandemic. As lockdown measures forced people around the globe to remain at home to stay safe from COVID-19, the invisible pandemic achieved visibility as its already scary curve became drastically frightening and much sharper. In February 2020, calls to domestic violence emergency numbers in China tripled compared to the prior year. No country was immune, not even our own. By the end of March, our national sexual assault hotline experienced a 22% increase in calls. Of those people who contacted the hotline in March, 2 out of 3 identified their perpetrator as a family member. 79% of those were living with that perpetrator. For these individuals, home is traumatically unsafe. Due to distance learning and working remote, the watchful eyes of mandated reporters, including teachers and child care providers, are unable to even see the vulnerable children. To some victims, tolerating abuse and remaining at home seems safer than moving to overcrowded conditions in shelters where victims and their children can be exposed to COVID-19 and other illnesses. Stay at home has resulted in US hospitals seeing more frequent and more severe cases of child abuse. Calls to hotlines have illustrated just how intense physical and psychological trauma can become when people are confined to a small space 24/7. The effects of abuse are long-lasting and for many can be life-altering. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, sleep disorders, an increased risk for heart disease, chronic pain, asthma, arthritis, and reproductive health issues. 15 times more likely to self-medicate by using alcohol or drugs. The 3.3 million children in the US who are exposed to intimate partner violence experience high levels of disobedience, anger, hostility, and withdrawal. Family relationships become characterized by broken trust, including compromised attachment to the parent who is trying to protect them. For a child, witnessing intimate partner violence can even lead to an earlier death. Many children aren't just witnessing the abuse, they are on the receiving end as well. A large percentage end up becoming abusers themselves. The cycle keeps on perpetuating. What a catastrophic situation. What can be done? In my career as a physician, over time, and in a variety of circumstances, I have learned when things are not proceeding smoothly to question, is there a better approach? In looking at this situation, it is so encouraging to know there is a better approach here, now, in Stanford. I am new to the SJPC family. Until October 2019, I did not know this organization existed, right in my own town of Stanford. When I attended the November benefit, I was impressed by SJPC's mission and its offerings. With programs available through SJPC, a better approach is being utilized and more fully developed, helping to ensure a potentially volatile situation now can de-escalate to a better place. Through the parenting program, which addresses expectations and problem-solving strategies for each of the different stages of child development, along with sessions devoted to practical life skills, including nutrition, budgeting, discipline, and empowerment, the recipients of SJPC services are provided with tools that equip them to better approach the challenges in their own lives. The 24/7 Dad program affords fathers a much-needed voice and a safe environment in which they can express their concerns and emotions about being a dad. From discussions about what could have been better in their own relationships with their fathers, to considering ways in which they themselves could be better fathers. In a program taught by men who are fathers as well, the 24/7 Dad program is helping to flatten the curve through communication and better approaches to family situations. The Women's Circle offers a nurturing environment which fosters both camaraderie and self-esteem. Whether it is a discussion on how to successfully balance working outside the home, while caring for one's family and caring for oneself at an ongoing sustainable level, or moments spent bonding over the joys and trials of motherhood and child raising, the Women's Circle serves to reinforce a woman's value of herself and her many talents. It may sound small, But I can assure you that self-esteem, self-worth, and supportive connections are formidable means by which the domestic violence curve can begin to flatten. Lockdown measures have not stopped the work being done at SJPC. The parenting program and the 24/7 dad program, both available in English and Spanish, have continued by utilizing the Zoom platform, helping to foster a greater understanding of what can be possible. I am equally excited by what looms on the horizon as SJPC plans to launch programs to more fully address intimate partner violence, including working with the aggressors to enable them to understand the repercussions of their behavior and address the circumstances under which those behaviors developed. Projects like these have the potential and the power to provide long-lasting solutions to the terrifying invisible pandemic that has disrupted and weakened families and societies for centuries. Each of us has a crucial and important role to carry out for the betterment of society. Each of us has the power to reach beyond our own walls, despite lockdown measures, and begin to provide means for all to be safe at home. The programs available through SJPC meet concrete needs for families lacking in both financial and emotional resources. On a personal level, addressing aspirations with realistic plans, including the participants' goals and how they envision reaching them. However, these important programs are not possible without your support. A listening ear, a helping hand, concrete approaches, support, along with the participant's voice and input, is not only a recipe for success, it is also a means to flatten the domestic violence and abuse curve. Regardless of what our currently uncertain future holds, the positive repercussions of SJPC's programs have the power to impact generation after generation, one family at a time. Thank you for letting me into your home and bringing St. Joseph's Parenting Center into your hearts.
Thank you, Dr. Beechin, for sharing your experience and insights with us this morning. Thank you most of all for dedicating your efforts to help break the circle of violence and neglect that plagues too many in society today. We are completely aligned in our efforts to help those in need. I'd now like to share with you how I came to be associated with St. Joe's Parenting Center and how I became so involved in this fine organization. I learned about SJPC about 10 years ago when I met the organization's founder, Ms. Measy O'Rourke, at a friend's house. SJPC's mission and vision were extremely compelling to me in a basic human form. And as a father of 3 boys at the time, I was acutely aware of the stresses and challenges that so many parents face throughout early childhood and adolescence, and the importance of having someone to turn to for advice or simply to commiserate with. For the first few years, I supported SJPC financially. Then around 2015, I was graciously asked to get involved with the board of the company. Getting more involved, I saw firsthand the work being done at the center by teaching a class with the fathers enrolled in the 24/7 Dads program. Teaching that class transformed my understanding of the needs for the center and our services. Many of the dads in the program had no idea how to be better fathers, but every one of them wanted to be. Little did I know, however, that I would be gaining far more than I would be giving. During my almost 6 years as a board member, my involvement has served to make me a better partner, a better parent, and helped me prepare my boys to be good, attentive, and loving parents. Sadly, my enhanced awareness of the importance of healthy parenting and the skills taught in our many programs at SJPC are traits that are lacking in so many homes these days. And far too often, the result is neglect, or even worse, abuse. As you know, St. Joseph's Parenting Center has a unique role in helping to ensure that the children in our community are free from abuse and neglect, what we call safe at home. SJPC helps to protect children in Fairfield County by providing valuable parenting education classes and many other crucial programs to local families. In normal times, there is more demand for SJPC services than the organization can meet. Unfortunately, these are far from normal times, as the coronavirus pandemic has disrupted each of our lives. For many of us, fortunately, the impact has been limited to the inconvenience of working from home and a feeling of isolation. Tragically, for others in our community, coronavirus is taking a far greater toll. During troubled times like these, child abuse increases. Many working parents have lost their jobs, bringing untold stress and anxiety and possibly anger into their homes. Some have had to make the difficult choice of going to work or staying home with the children who no longer attend school. For those who can work from home, the demands of the job frequently result in the children being neglected. For several weeks after the pandemic was declared and stay-at-home orders were issued, SJPC had to shut the center's doors, cutting off critical lifeline to the scores of parents in our community. The good news, as Rhonda described earlier, is that we have been able to pivot to an online group training session platform. Since implementing Zoom-based parenting classes, SJPC has been able to provide 6 to 8 sessions per week, most of them in the evening, to accommodate working parents. During the past month, we have been able to serve up to 50 adults per week. In addition, SJPC continues to provide emotional support to parents through individual case management by way of video calls and by connecting parents with other community resources, such as food assistance, employment programs, legal assistance, educational opportunities, counseling, and housing assistance. While we're very proud to have made the transition to online parent training, it has not been inexpensive. And as demand for SJPC's services have grown during the pandemic, so too have our costs. Frankly, that's why we're here today. If you're already familiar with St. Joseph's Parenting Center, you know the irreplaceable role we provide in our community. And if today is your introduction to SJPC, I trust that you are as impressed as I was when I met Mizzy O'Rourke 10 years ago. I hope that you come away from today with a clear sense of the growing risk of child abuse and neglect during this extraordinary time. Your financial support will positively impact the lives of parents and children in our community in ways you can't even imagine. There are many different levels of support, large and small, that will enable SJPC to continue to help mothers, fathers, and children of Fairfield County. I'd like to quickly mention 3 of them. A donation of $15,000 will support 30 parents in our general parenting program. $5,000 will help for additional technology that will allow SJPC to expand our online parent training in a way that provides benefits of group interaction and ensures social distancing. And finally, $1,000 will fund the development of our new intimate partner violence class. Your support in any amount is greatly appreciated, and it is truly more important now than ever. Please take pride in knowing that your assistance and generosity will allow SJPC to continue to serve as a guardian angel in our community, helping to protect children of Fairfield County so they are indeed safe at home. I'm pleased to introduce Rabbi Daniel Cohen for our benediction. Rabbi Cohen began serving as the spiritual leader of Congregation Agadah Shalom here in Stanford in 2005. The Agadah Shalom congregation is the largest modern Orthodox synagogue in New England. Rabbi Cohen, take it away.
This certainly for all of us has been a very challenging time, one in which those things in our life are certain have seemed to be uncertain. And it's a moment when I think it's not only a time of challenge, but also within that challenge, there's an opportunity. And that's an opportunity for growth for all of us. Viktor Frankl wrote a very important work. He was a survivor of the Holocaust, entitled Man's Search for Meaning. And in there, he said that we are always given a choice between stimulus and response. In every moment, we have the choice not to determine what happens to us, but how do we respond to the world around us? And in the silence and in the, you might say, upside down nature of the world today, there's a moment for all of us to reflect on. And that is really reflected, I believe, in a story about a man who was 93 years old who recently recovered from COVID. And as he was leaving the hospital, he was given a bill. And the bill was for $5,000 for the ventilator for one day. And when he saw the bill, he began to cry. And the doctor looked at him and said, "Why are you crying?" And he turned to the doctor and said, "I'm not crying because I don't have any money to pay. I certainly have all the money that's needed. But let me tell you," he said, "I'm 93 years old, and I have breathed God's air for free for 93 years. And now I'm paying $5,000 for one day's use of the ventilator. How much do I owe God? How much do I oftentimes take for granted the simple breath of life in this moment that we have right now?" I believe that the very fact that we're all here is God saying to each and every one of us, "I love you, I believe in you." And in this moment, rather than lament the darkness and the challenges, what can each one of us do to try to transform the world around us in this moment, to try to bring a little more light and hope and healing? And I think for all of us, as we move forward, that is the opportunity and choice that we have. And I believe that God will give us the strength. This is a moment to think about what I oftentimes call the Elijah moment. The Elijah moment is a concept that says we may not be able to change the world, but each and every one of us can change the world of one person. Mark Twain once said the two most important days of your life are the day when you're born and the day when we understand why. No encounter is random. Every moment that we have a connection, there's an opportunity to share a little bit of our light. And to me, that really reflects the sacred mission of everybody in this room. Everyone in this room is tasked to take some of the gift of life, the breath of every day, and to try to share that, to spread a little bit of light in our homes, with our neighbors, with our community. And we may not be able to change the world, but each one of us can light a fire, illuminate somebody's life, and change the world of one person. I want to conclude with a blessing, and a blessing relates to another beautiful mystical idea, where it says that before every human being is born, there's an angel inside. And that angel teaches us what's called the secret of the light, the path to a life of meaning, a life of goodness, a life of kindness, a life of hope and peace. And then right before we're born, the angel places its finger underneath our nose, and we forget about the light. But it's buried deep inside. And then at the very end of our lives, we are greeted by an angel, and that angel asks us a question. Did you reveal the light that I planted within you? Did you make the most of every day with the gift of maximizing the opportunities to bring blessing in front of you in this moment? And did you share your light with the world? I believe that even though this has been a very difficult time, God is giving us an opportunity not to lament the darkness, but to choose light, and God willing, we will. As it says in Isaiah, those who have faith in God, their strength will be renewed. They will run and not grow tired. They will walk and not grow weary. I bless you, your families, your community, to continue to be inspired by God's light, to choose life, to choose love in this moment. God willing, the choices that we make, the Elijah moments that we create, will, God willing, not only improve our lives and those around us, but surely spread a bright light all over the world. God bless you.
Good morning, Rabbi Cohen. Thank you for being with us this morning and for the beautiful blessing you gave on behalf of St. Joseph Parenting Center. I also want to thank everyone who joined us today in support of the center. I hope you found the information and experiences that were shared informative and inspirational. As you heard from Dr. Beechin, the need for the parenting, education, and community support programs that St. Joseph Parenting Center provides are needed now more than ever because of the stress families are experiencing due to the emotional and financial effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are grateful we were able to pivot our programs online so our parents can continue to have the support they need during these difficult times. Your support of St. Joseph Parenting Center is needed, especially now, and we hope you will consider making a donation today. Please go online to find the many ways your donations can support specific programs for our parents. If you work for a company with a matching gift program or would like to make a pledge, please contact the center or go to the St. Joseph Parenting Center website. We are grateful for your support and thank you for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day.